want to say shout out to our sponsors, Watchman Cigars, 1812 Barbecue, Webmerized Website Design, Blue Collar Motorcycle Shop, and Hook, Line, and Heroes. Without you, this episode would not be possible. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, where it's our take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, and you, the listeners, are getting a degree in common sense. We are broadcasting from the Blue Collar Cycle Studio right here in beautiful Concord, North Carolina. Of course, I'd be your host, Biggin, and how about you? We've got a great show lined up for you as always, but let me go ahead and introduce the team. To my left, your right on the radio dial, it's our producer, Brian.
Hey, guys.
And, of course, that sits across the way is the pride of Anderson, South Carolina. But most of you probably know him best as the Silver Tongue one, 2016's honorable mention macaroon maker of the year, the inventor of the redneck egg roll. Give it up on old mic number one. It's Mojo!
So I began reading a horror book in Braille. I could really feel something's bad is about to happen.
Oh, I hit it again.
That's money. That's
quality
money
right there.
That's money. By the way, the macaroons I'm talking about are not the French macaroons, or the coconut.
Oh.
What are the... Oh, not the little cookies.
Exactly.
Coconut.
I just wanted to clarify, just in case people were...
From last episode,
Yeah, just in case the French bakeries were running low on macaroons, I wanted to make that correction. That way they can go get them. Yeah.
Got it.
But I do love me some macaroons. Either one, either or, the French or the coconut. They're delicious. Anyway, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Wherever you listen to a podcast, just please download us. Please subscribe. Give us a like. Give us a rating and review. You can also check us out on the social medias. Facebook, facebook.com. Just put in put in Southern Fried Philosophy. I usually post stupid memes before Biggin erases them. I'm just kidding.
Only did it twice.
So stay on top of that, guys, so you don't miss anything.
You can check us out on Twitter's the SFP Radio, also Instagram, same handle. Yeah, youtube.com/SFP Radio, and also our new Patreon, patreon.com/SFP Radio.
Just want to say we got our upcoming guest, Gwen Bartley from Amazing Grace Advocacy, next week, so we're excited to have her on the show. Want to say shout out to our new listeners from Harrisburg, Hartford, Hattiesburg, Houston, and Huntsville. All brought to you by the letter H. H. That's the sound of me going up a flight of stairs right there.
It's me opening that 7th pack of Chick-fil-A sauce.
All right, I'm going to ask you like I ask you every week. Mojo, I be darn.
You know what's burning my biscuits?
Come on.
Speaking of Chick-fil-A sauce, this whole new announcement of them changing their philanthropy standards.
Oh, boy. I knew this was coming. Hit that disclaimer.
The views and opinions of Southern Fried Philosophy are not necessarily those of our guests, sponsors, or friends of the show, but they should be.
Bingo. Anyway, yeah, so Chick-fil-A just announced that they're going to stop donating money to what has been coined as anti-LGBT groups. They've named a few of them, not Planned Parenthood, but Salvation Army's being one on that list. So Salvation Army, to my understanding, will no longer be receiving funds from Chick-fil-A charities. The restructuring of Chick-fil-A now is that they're going to focus on hunger, homelessness, and something else as part of their mantra. So basically what they've done, for years, Chick-fil-A is great. Still my favorite restaurant. I don't agree with this, but of course it's their money. They can do whatever they want to with it. I'll still eat there. I may eat there with a sour taste in my mouth and a tear streaming down my eye. But I'll still enjoy a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I don't go there for their politics or religion. But this is just another victim of the cancel culture where you have extremist groups who begin to protest, and then they make, if a company doesn't follow through and do what they want, then they're going to stage a boycott. Christians have done it too. Remember with Starbucks, the red cups,
Disney World.
Yeah, Disney World, everything. We're the extremist parts of our ideology stands up and they make a big stance, and all of a sudden Chick-fil-A is now the latest victim of that cancel culture where they capitulate and go under.
My question, though, is they haven't bowed to the Sunday thing. Like, they're still closed on Sunday.
Right.
I mean, do you think that they're really bowing down to that culture?
Yes, because your Salvation Army, I don't know if you remember a couple weeks ago, there was a musician, Ellie Goulding, who announced that she was not going to participate in, I think, a halftime song. It was something, she wasn't going to participate, I think, in a halftime show or something like that, due to they would be raising funds for the Salvation Army. And since she's pro-LGBT, that she would not do that. Well, then actually Salvation Army reached out to her and says, I'm not exactly sure where you're getting your message from, but we actually don't discriminate. We want people to find out about God, but we're trying to do that through action. So you can, if you're homeless or hungry, come to us. We will feed you. We will clothe you. We will put shelter over you. So actually Ellie Goulding was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize you did this. I've heard nothing but bad things about you. So now I'm going to actually raise money for you. So, but yes.
So why did Chick-fil-A, why did they?
Well, I mean, obviously, Truett S. Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, is no longer with us. So he's now has his kids have now run the business. If you remember in the news recently, you had the Chick-fil-A had fought very hard to get a location to open up in the United Kingdom, UK. Well, they got the location opened up, and then they just got announced that they had 6 months to get the hell out of the country due to their anti-LGBT stance.
Also, college campuses as well.
College campuses has been big. New York City's had a doozy. San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, these meccas of extremist ideology, political stances have protested Chick-fil-A coming in. So anyway, now Chick-fil-A is one of the fastest emerging fast food restaurants.
It's definitely hurting their business.
See, that's the thing. That's the reason I don't understand it.
Triple drive-throughs soon.
I mean, strategically, it's a horrible business move, in my opinion, because now you've opened up the door to these extremist ideologies. By the way, I've actually talked to several friends of mine, part of the LGBT community. They didn't care what Chick-fil-A did. They were going to eat there because of the service and the food.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have the fringe right, who are those dedicated, I'm going to spend my money where people that, believe the way I do, they're now going to turn their back on Chick-fil-A. So I think it's going to be kind of just a wash of customer base. I don't think the bitter left wing that fought Chick-fil-A for so hard is actually going to come in and actually patronize the place, because those guys are vegans and don't want straws and things like that. So anyway, that's just kind of burning my biscuits this week.
Yeah. Well, how about you? Producer Brian, how you been doing?
Well, I don't have anything quite as heavy as that. But,
Leave it to me. I got to lay it on thick.
Yeah, so I think there's two kinds of people in this world right now.
People that eat at Chick-fil-A and people that don't?
Well, you either decorate for Christmas at the end of October or you wait till the right time on like Black Friday.
Sure.
To me, I don't know. I'm a Thanksgiving purist, I think.
Me too.
There's so much, people put up Christmas trees in late July now, I feel like.
I told my wife when she started putting hers up last week, I was like, I'm not even taking it down this year. We're just leaving it up.
What's the point, right?
Yeah. And
maybe put a sheet over it and just,
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. I'm a Southerner. You're a Southerner. You're a Southerner.
Am I?
And we've made, depending upon what episode you listen to.
Okay.
But, the Southerners always get made fun of because you have those relatives that have had their Christmas lights up year round. Actually, I think they were just ahead of the curve.
Trend, yeah.
They were the nose end of the dog on this.
I don't care when you take them down. Just don't turn those switch on before I finish my turkey.
Sure.
I'm 100% with you. I gotta have my Thanksgiving feast, because if you start blending all these holidays in together, one's going to drop off.
Here's my rebuttal, and I'm with you. I don't think that we should wait till Thanksgiving and then start doing it. as I get older, I want to go ahead and get as much enjoyment as I can out of all of the hard work that I'm doing to get all that crap out of the attic and out of the basement. I mean, having a couple extra weeks to be able to, one, to get it done, but then two, like, to enjoy it, because it's a lot of work now. Now it's 4 trees and 36 wreaths.
4 trees.
And
We have 4 at our house.
Listen, no.
yeah, come on, y'all.
I'm not doing the lights, like the crazy lights. It's a fake tree. It's a good-looking fake tree. But
Sure.
There's no missing gaps because,
It just takes so long. By the time I actually get it all done, it's like December 23rd. And I'm like, well, got it all done. I've got it up for 2 days. And then as soon as it's done, though, hey, buddy, I'm packing that stuff up. We're shipping it back up in the attic.
We have a rule. She has to keep hers up till January the 2nd.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we have
I'm done with that.
Really?
I'm okay with it, but I've tried taking it down on the 26th. That didn't go over too well. But I'm going to start celebrating St. Patty's Day. Probably around.
There we go. That's how you show them.
Yeah,
That's
probably
how
around.
we do it.
We're gonna start-
Probably around Valentine's Day. I'm gonna start celebrating.
Yeah, there we
St.
go.
Patty's Day.
The whole month
Everything
of March
green.
is St. Patrick's month.
How about it?
There we go.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually out of town, like right after Christmas, so my tree just sits there in the dark for a week. So
Well, there you go.
Oh yeah, because my wife gives me I put it up,
Oh.
but if I go to try to take it down before the 2nd, not good. No bueno. How you be doing?
I'm good. Let me tell you what's burning my biscuits. This past week, I went to get the donuts for men's breakfast. Pulled in the old Dunkin'. I know that's a sin. I totally get it.
I should have at least gone to Harris Teeter.
I heard they make an amazing
That's what I
donut.
heard.
Went through the drive-through because they have a drive-through, and noticed there's a tip jar at the Dunkin' Donuts. And I say to myself, a tip jar through a drive-through, like, that doesn't feel right. I will, though, understand they have, the barista that makes, quote unquote, makes the coffee and all that kind of stuff.
That's a don't lick my donut next time jar.
Maybe. But then I went to my beloved Breakfast Time, which is just a drive-through breakfast place. And I also noticed a tip jar.
Actually, maybe they're wanting you. Maybe they want like life tips.
Like what tips?
Like life tips, like invest in this stock.
You would
or,
think so. But there's dollars that are,
So fast food tips is what we're talking about here.
yeah. Like,
here's a tip. I heard there's a brand new brewery called Armored Cow that just opened up.
how about it?
That's a tip.
There is. That quiet, nobody really knows it, but we're trying to get the name out. That's a good tip. But why are we tipping the drive-through people? Like, I was confused if we should or should not tip the Sonic people. Because they were on the roller skates.
Roller
They
skates,
came out.
that's like liability insurance or something.
Right. So I was like, okay, I'll tip the Sonic people. I won't tip them when I go through the drive-through. Why am I tipping drive-through people now?
Because they're basically executing a 180 hand move, like
Right.
I mean,
Here to here. That's it.
well, maybe we should just tip them worth the action. Here's like 6 cents.
Maybe we go with, but I see dollar bills in this thing. Now, they could be putting their own dollar bills in there.
Look, I have my own qualms with the fast food industry. I mean, I was at one last night, unfortunately, and I shouldn't say these people because that's very demeaning.
Right.
But this industry is demanding $15 an hour, and just the quality of level work. There wasn't a clean table. I got the attitude just asking for an extra pack of ketchup. Just they want $15 an hour.
I can't tell you how many times the Zaxby's by my house I've had to go back to get something.
Ooh, yeah.
And they still do it wrong.
Ooh.
Like, I'll get a kid's meal and like there's no fries or there's no chicken.
What?
Okay, I can come back and then they don't even give me like the whole thing. I was like, what?
No, that's one thing you got to give Chick-fil-A.
They're on it.
There's that.
I did see the meme where if they didn't get the order right, then that's not what I was supposed to have anyway for the day. So I get you. This is our Thanksgiving special. So I did want to talk to you guys. What are your Thanksgiving top 5 must-haves at the Thanksgiving feast? The most, you have to have this in order to have Thanksgiving.
I know this is going to sound cheesy, but
Is it macaroni and cheese?
Oh,
Sorry.
well,
Cheesy.
we do
It's
have to
cheesy,
have
right?
that. I think if we're not talking about food, one of my most important things is
I am talking about that.
actually before. Well, if we weren't talking about food, the most important thing we have at our table now is an empty chair representing my donor Jamie. That's something we did before we found out who he was and our family. And also, my donor's mother, Lisa, has always asked me to do that, keep an open chair in memory of Jamie. So we do that. So that's what's kind of a must-have at our table. Man, the must-haves, we got to kind of narrow it down because,
Okay.
or maybe we have categories like meat. We have to have some type of turkey. It's just a tradition.
You got to have turkey.
We would all agree meat is one of the top.
Meat.
Schmeat.
Poultry at the very least.
If I can find a can of pumpkin spice spam, it might be at the table this year.
I know where you can get
there we
one for $20.
Oh, turkey, some form of turkey.
Right. Check. Got the turkey. Now, here's the debate that I have. Dressing or stuffing?
Stuffing is above the Mason-Dixon line. Below is dressing.
But the stuffing is actually inside the turkey. Right?
I see that. That's the great debate. Stuffing, traditional stuffing, is actually in the turkey.
Yeah.
Dressing is just a pan of cornbread and whatever other sage, whatever.
But the execution on getting stuffing right in a turkey is
That's
and then you
why.
only get how big is that cavity? You get maybe a pound of stuffing in there.
Yeah,
That's not going to feed anybody. Where you can get a sheet pan,
Yeah.
the dressing, and everybody's happy.
But I'm gonna say I've never been big on stuffing because nothing sounds more delicious than cooking bread product inside of a cavity of a bird. I mean,
No, I get that. But it's always, every time I've had it, it's been just so, and I hate the word, guys, and I'm sorry.
Moist.
You can bleep it. Moist. It's been way too much. And I can't, but the dressing, love that.
yeah,
Don't like the stuff.
Giblets or no giblets?
no, I can't do giblets.
No giblets.
Really?
I mean, I like the flavor, but I have to strain the giblets out. I don't
Give
know.
you that.
Yeah, I don't care.
All right, so we'll all agree we got to have dressing.
Yes,
Yeah, that's part of Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
It's right,
Well, I mean,
next to the turkey.
and maybe in northern Mooresville,
Yeah.
their first stuffing.
No, we have the dressing.
Okay.
It's in a pan. It's in a 9x13.
Yeah.
And sometimes we've had more than one type at a time.
Yeah, I enjoy
We'll have a giblet and we'll have a not giblet, and then two of us eat a whole pan by ourselves.
Now, my wife will make one with sausage,
Mm-hmm.
apples, and like pecans in it. Hey, buddy.
It's
Now,
good stuff, yeah.
That was good. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I actually my dad made dressing, and it was really dry. But I've come to appreciate it in my older age for some reason. I don't know why, but I guess it made great croutons or something. I don't know.
It's good if it's like crunchy a little bit, but it's still moist on the inside.
But if it takes all the moisture out of your mouth while you're eating it, that's
Pour a little gravy on there, you're fine.
There you go.
Yeah, but when all of a sudden you're going through half a tub of gravy, your cholesterol index is up.
What other sides we're going with, guys?
See, I'm torn between
Must-haves.
broccoli and green bean casserole.
Really?
Well, see, you have the good green bean casserole. That's the trick, not the. I have one, and I'm gonna, one of my culinary heroes, Mr. Alton Brown, has a green bean casserole. You basically make all your own stuff. It's like you saute mushrooms.
Oh,
You put like salt and pepper, nutmeg, butter. You make a little roux out of it, and then you just
Come on.
bake. Like, I
Okay.
still use he makes his own like onion straws. That's too much work. So I still get the French's onion straws 'cause that's the best part. But it's the best green bean casserole. You're making a cast iron skillet.
oh.
No, I like his. He's got some
Fantastic.
great recipes.
It's-
He's just annoying as hell to listen to. I mean, he is just.
I like him.
I like him, but I get it.
I don't know the.
So
I don't know what it is.
There's some isms, that he has
Yeah.
for sure. But
Altonese.
yeah.
What kind of green beans are you putting in the
Fresh.
Like what kind of cut?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I just snap them and get the whole ones in the back.
I like
There's no knives involved.
French. I like French cut. If you're gonna do the can, if they do can, I gotta do French cut.
They freak me out. The French cut.
Really?
Little skinny, like
Yeah.
slimy things.
Yeah,
That's what I grew up on. I hate those.
I grew up on the fat flat.
Yeah.
Green bean.
I can't
Kentucky.
eat canned green beans at all anymore. I gotta have like frozen or fresh.
No, I can eat. I can eat my mother makes southern green beans. I can eat those. I don't know, just because maybe it's a nostalgic thing, but I mean it's like a fine line between an actual green bean and baby food. It's that kind of fine line because she overcooks the snot out of them.
Yeah,
but
like these green beans are still a little crispy when you eat them. And
collards,
Kentucky Wonder,
collards. Oh man,
gotta have collards.
I wish.
You can't have collards?
We just don't have. That's just not a thing that's in our.
All right, I'm gonna bring. I'll save you some.
I had collards actually yesterday at Floyd's restaurant down on Graham Street.
I love me some collards.
Yeah,
I'm actually may change it up this year. We may actually do. I may actually cook the collards a couple days ahead and do redneck egg rolls.
Finally,
for Thanksgiving.
Finally, 3 years
and waiting. Because the reason why I may do that this year, just because usually I overcook collards, thinking everyone likes collards. And
I'm not a collard guy.
And then I have collards for about a month by myself.
I love them.
I will say, I don't know, they probably don't listen, but Sarah Heacock makes the best collards I've ever had.
Oh, really?
They're fantastic.
What did she do?
She uses smoked turkey legs.
Turkey neck?
Oh, I've had those.
Turkey legs.
Oh, turkey legs.
I think I've had those.
Oh, they are good, right?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
She's from Florida.
But they're good.
How does she know about collards in Florida?
I don't know, but they good.
It's probably some kind of migratory thing.
Okay.
She's got to come up.
You have to go through Georgia to get to here.
Yeah,
right.
That.
She probably got it from Alton Brown or Tyler Florence.
Here's one for me that I enjoy the most is a oyster casserole. I know it's a weird one.
I want it. I'd eat it. Yeah.
But it's delicious.
I will. Full disclosure, I've actually never had oyster casserole or oyster dressing stuff.
Like the oyster and sausage stuffing.
Yeah.
Like that. I want that. But again, no one in my family will eat anything like that.
Yep.
I'm willing to try it.
I
never had it.
Usually when we go to the family Thanksgiving meal, there's one little dish that has it just for me. So I was like, thanks, Dad. Appreciate it.
That's cool.
Man.
Yeah.
Sweet potato casserole.
So what kind of real sweet potatoes?
I like the real sweet potatoes, brown butter.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of marshmallow topping. I just like the crunch.
Sugar. My mom does one with brown sugar and pecans on it.
Yeah, I like that.
It's like basically mashed sweet potatoes.
I'm not a big fan of I'm not a big fan of marshmallows to begin with. I'm not a real big fan of melted marshmallows, so I don't like them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll eat them.
Yeah, sweet potato. That's one of the few times a year, and this is for some reason we don't eat these foods any other time of year.
No,
Yeah.
We wait for this one day. That's why it's so important to me. I think that you don't do your Christmas.
Skip past us, right? Yeah.
But
do you have what's one?
yeah, so I mean, you guys are hitting it for me. The green beans, the turkey, the stuff, all that. It's just a classic Thanksgiving. I just wish some of those things I wish we had, and I know no one else would eat them. Mm-hmm. And I hosted my house, so we usually have 15 or 16 people, and they go to the mac and cheese and the rolls and a little bit of turkey with some ketchup on it.
The other one that I'm going to throw out there is corn pudding.
Okay.
I like corn pudding.
It was never on our table, so I don't think about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's at my table, I will eat it.
Yeah, I'll eat anything they put out there, pretty much.
Sure.
And of course, in the South, everything's in a casserole, and it tastes awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's way too many ingredients in it, and it just still tastes good. I mean, you could have broccoli, green bean, and several other casseroles in the same similar genre.
All you're eating is cream of mushroom soup. And
exactly. It all tastes the same. It's just different
potato
forms.
chips
Yeah,
or something.
Exactly.
It's like a Taco Bell. Same ingredients, different product. What dessert are we going with? Round this thing out.
I know this ain't traditional, but I like red velvet cake. And since I make red velvet cake, I'm going to make red velvet cake because I really enjoy it. And nobody else eats it. That's cool.
Yeah, I do a pumpkin cheesecake. Pumpkin swirl, New York style cheesecake.
All right.
Everyone's got to have it. It's good. I mean, I'll get they'll be lynched or something if I don't make it.
How about it?
Yeah.
I'm a chest pie guy. I really like a good chest pie. That's usually what my aunt will make, and that'll be my pie.
And that's one of those quintessential Southern things that just was never in my life.
She made one when she came up to visit, small batch. Literally, you cut it and it just runs. It's just gooey, and you have to eat the whole pie with a spoon. Perfect.
So is Cracker Barrel doing their Thanksgiving yet? Because I want to. Make a stop.
All right. All right. Anything else we want to add to the list?
Some kind of cranberry, right? I mean, I like cranberry salad, real cranberry salad.
I like cranberry compote, something like that.
Yeah, not the
or relic, cranberry
not
relic.
the shape, not the
ocean
cylinder.
Spray.
I don't want the cylinder.
Like the ocean spray.
I don't find if it's the whole cranberry. I want to chew on something a little bit there.
I can't do the jelly though in the can.
Jelly.
Just the way it slides out. Just
I love it.
If I'm going to do that in a can, I'm just going to get pumpkin spice spam.
It's already pre-cut. It has the lines to cut it and everything. I like it. One thing that I did also want to point out that I thought was funny, and this isn't on our notes, but I was listening to our friends Kentucky Sports Radio this past week, and they just finished their restaurant bracket.
Oh.
You remember, we finished this up on episode 117. Do you want to know what the final game was for the restaurants that they had on theirs? And we used the same bracket.
Bojangles, Chick-fil-A.
I think it was Waffle House and Chick-fil-A were the top two, actually.
Waffle House and Chick-fil-A was the last to go.
Really?
And then on the show,
There was Waffle House and Bojangles on ours, but yeah.
Waffle House won on theirs. Waffle House won on ours as well.
So
How about it?
We were ahead of the curve.
We were.
Wow.
How about it? Thought that was interesting.
Trendsetters.
And that's what we are. All right, so we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we will have some wacky news. You're listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. The 1812 barbecue story started over 20 years ago when Eric and his dad started entering local barbecue competitions for fun. During that time, Eric, a United States Marine, has traveled all over the world picking up flavors and techniques that today is the unique flavor of the award-winning 1812 barbecue. He has honed his craft to bring you fall-off-the-bone pulled pork, mouth-watering ribs, and finely crafted beef brisket. Eric has developed his own amazing dry rub and delicious barbecue sauce. And let's not forget the sides: coleslaw, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, cowboy baked beans, and to top it all off, banana pudding and pecan pie for dessert. Getting hungry yet? Good. Call or email Eric at 1812 Barbecue, and he can make your next catered meal happen. Wedding and graduation parties, family reunions, and other events will be memorable with 1812 Barbecue. Want to try your own hand at smoking meats? Pick up your own 1812 dry rub and start the journey for yourself. Shipping all over the world, connect with Eric on his Facebook page, Instagram at 1812 Barbecue, or call 704-604-5148, or email Eric at eric.line@1812barbecue.com, and he'll be glad to help any way he can. All right, we're back. You are listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, and we're going to bring you some wacky news brought to you by 1812 Barbecue. If you need a fantastic caterer, I mean, he could do anything. I bet he's probably even doing turkeys right now. Who knows? You could probably give him a call and see. But check out our friends at 1812 Barbecue. All their information is on the sponsors section of our website and on our show notes. So here is a article that I ran across. This is it's titled "Last Call: Restaurant Chains Closing Locations by 2020." In the last year, a surprising number of our favorite retail stores have announced countrywide branch closures. However, they are not the only ones that are having a hard time. Many restaurants are also facing a decline of traffic, and they're starting to downsize as well. Restaurants on this list have their own reasons for each branch closure, from overexpansion to changing dietary habits. Food trends have come and go, and unfortunately, some of these restaurants do as well. Check out the restaurant chain. So there are like 34 restaurants that are talking about, but I'm going to go through some of these. Pizza Hut, established in 1958, they're closing 500 branches of Pizza Hut.
I can see that.
Yeah, because they're making crappy pizza right now.
Also, they haven't adapted to change either too well.
Yeah, and Pizza Hut used to be the place to go.
Mm-hmm.
In the late 80s, we didn't know any better, but it was good.
It actually probably was good.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah.
And they had the buffet. It's hard to find even just the standalone Pizza Huts now, but there's probably going to be closing most of those.
They're all like delivery and pickup places. You can't go in and sit. That was Friday night.
There's one going to downtown Concord. It's just a standalone pizza place where it has the buffet and everything still. So, Steak and Shake. You know how much we love that. Thought that was interesting. They're closing 60 branches. Year established it was 1934.
They have too much competition.
Horrible food for the price structure they're in.
Yeah.
Yep. Have you ever heard of Hometown Buffet? 217 branches are closed.
Yeah, that was Old Country Buffet I was thinking of. But Hometown Buffet morphed. I think they bought the rights to some of the old Ryan Steakhouse buffets.
Okay.
And then they kind of morphed into one company, and then just they bellied up all the Ryans, and then I think...
Man, I love me some Ryans.
But that segment of market, the buffet, huge buffets like that, even Golden Corrals aren't hitting it home. They're even making smaller Golden Corrals now, just because people don't want to go sit out with 800 other people sweating over a bar.
And you got the 9-year-old like sticking his finger in whatever, and
yeah.
The next one, I loved this as a kid, and I thought it was the coolest place ever. But Fuddruckers is closing 24 branches.
That's fun to say.
Fuddruckers.
I never liked their hamburgers anyway.
I mean, they were just all right. You know,
Right.
Well, they may have started like the customizable, like build your own kind of movement, but it just wasn't great. And it was like $12 for a hamburger.
Yeah, the bread was the best part of the burger, though. And that's not how it's supposed to be. That's supposed to be the meat's supposed to be the star.
Yeah.
But overpriced.
Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Overpriced. I think they're too big of a real estate for what, the real estate footprint was just way too big for that segment. Yeah.
They were huge.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised it took them this long to close.
This one hits close to home, I think, to you, Mojo. Applebee's, they're closing 120 branches.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. They've had in the last. I used to work for them. I started out with them when I was 18, 19, and they've drastically have changed their thought process. They're no longer that neighborhood good time. Everybody, that's where to be seen, like a Pizza Hut in the 80s.
Yeah.
Once IHOP bought that brand out, and I mean, they just continued and accelerated the downward trend of frozen food, basically microwaved or dropped into a fryer. I
haven't been to one in 10 years, probably.
It is glorified bar food, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's glorified bar food.
Pretty much. That's what I always say about Jack in the Box. The best thing about Jack in the Box is the bag to poop in.
We call it Crapplebee's because every time we ate it, we got the
Oh,
craps.
yeah, no crap. No crap.
Do you remember Quiznos?
Yeah, the old sandwich place.
They're
Toasted.
closing 1,000 branches.
Yeah.
Well, there's too many sandwich places.
There are a ton.
Well, Quiznos also, their downfall, Quiznos was their royalty rates.
Food.
Well, besides the food, but they upped the game from Subway. At one time,
Well, yeah.
they were knocking Subway off.
I mean, I'd say if you want a toasted sub, Quiznos had a better than Subway, which what's that saying?
But see, the problem with Quiznos and the same problem with Subway is that they're royalties. They charge their franchisees. I mean, we're talking, anywhere between 12 to 16, maybe even higher now. Plus, they got to buy branded product. Yeah. And it costs too much to be an operator there. That's the reason why you'll have one guy who may have 6 locations and barely squeak a living.
Buffalo Wild Wings is closing 60 branches. Thought that was a little.
They've also cheapened their stuff too. They've gone, from their core ideals to something they're not. Plus, I wonder. About 2 years ago, they announced that we're going to be a gun-free zone. I wonder how much of an impact that actually took on their sales. I'm not saying it's major, but when you got good old boys, and Buffalo Wild Wings is one of the only names in town, and you're in the middle of good old boys central, and it's middle of deer season, and everybody's coming to the sidearm or something like that, getting off the field. I wonder, you know what I'm saying? I wonder what policies.
I can't imagine Bubba coming from a deer hunt and be like, hey, where are you going to go? Let's go to B-Dubs.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine it, but I understand.
Well, it'll be B-Dubs or Applebee's, and I guess they're turning both those away.
Applebee's, absolutely, yep.
Panera Bread is closing 2,000 branches.
Thank you.
Panera. I think they expanded way too quickly.
I think that, plus I think their property acquisitions, because they started buying properties left and right. But also their CEO, I'm trying to be politically correct. Their CEO's an idiot. He's the one that opened up the Panera Choose Your Own Price product.
What?
They started this, choose your own price, going off the socialist mentality. You pay wherever you feel your meal's worth. Well, that store went quickly under in like 9 months.
How much does bread cost to make?
Yeah, I mean, but people would come in there getting their $9 retail sandwich and paying $1. So that's I don't think
prices.
I just don't think he was making. So I don't think the Panera CEO has been making the most logical choices. So plus, they close 1,000 Paneras. There's only going to be 22,000 left.
Right. So this is going to hurt my foster kid hot pocket. Cece's is closing 44 branches. God bless a bear, Cece's.
Only 44.
Only 44.
I stopped giving them money a long time ago. That's why.
The only good thing about Cece's is the brownies. I enjoyed that probably the most. I don't know if you guys have ever had that.
I never got that far.
And then last but not least, KFC is closing 1,000 stores. Or did I say that one already?
1,000?
Yep, 1,000 stores.
How many Taco Bells are going with it?
Actually, Taco Bell is on the list. I got to find it again. But KFC, 1,000 stores.
Like those split stores, they're always touching each other now.
Yeah, who knows?
Well,
I hate KFC, to be honest with you.
The chicken game is so strong out there now. I mean,
you can't.
Between Zaxby's, Raising Cane's, there's another one called, dang it, what's the name of it? Out of Texas, Louisiana.
Popeyes.
Popeyes, you got Popeyes. I mean,
BBQ around here.
BBQ,
right? Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
They're all better than KFC.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Frenchies. Yeah, Frenchies.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, the chicken games are so strong that KFC's just kind of,
and they're throwing darts at a wall with anything that they can possibly do. The cinnamon biscuit.
Yeah, the cinnamon.
Whatever the bowls, it's just, and it's not good.
Yeah.
Every time I regret it. So, any thoughts? Like, I agree with you there's just so much competition. You're going to see a lot of these other big chains, I think, go away while you have better quality stores like PDQ, like really rising up.
I think this is just the market because I think these companies, like every one of these companies have been around for a while. Applebee's has been around since the 70s. KFC's been around since the 50s probably. I can't say about too much for Panera, but these companies don't learn how to change with the times. I mean, the companies that do learn how to change with the times, they're the ones that are thriving. I mean, just like how, Sears once upon a time put out mom and pops by doing Sears catalogs.
Yeah.
And then the malls came in and put off Main Street. And then Walmart came in and closed down the malls. And then now Amazon's probably going to close Walmart. I mean, these companies don't change with society. They stick with their same dinosaur type of blueprints.
Yep.
Yeah. And some of it, I think, there's a health push too. And there's probably less people of a certain generation maybe that are going for fast food. And if they choose to go to a fast food restaurant, they're going to one of these better experiences.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that people have not, these restaurants were caught so off guard with would be like Grubhub and Chowhound and DoorDash and how to implement that. And the companies that have received that product have seen an uptick in sales.
Sure.
Chick-fil-A does a great job with it. Some of the local people have dedicated whole sections. Some of these other companies don't do that.
Yep.
And
that's a big thing right now.
Yeah. I mean, even the Burger King right now is, hey, download Uber Eats. We'll give you free food. Just download the app. I mean, if you don't adjust in a market like that, you're going to be left out.
Yep.
And it'll be interesting to see. And no one take this as a sign of the economy or anything like that. This is just a healthy economy actually purging out antiquated businesses that don't need to be hanging around.
Yeah, and maybe like some mom and pop restaurant will take that space. And do
It'll probably
locally,
a Chinese restaurant or a Mexican restaurant.
I mean,
they'll probably do great.
I went to Floyd's down on Graham Street in Charlotte yesterday. It's an old Hardee's.
Yeah.
They've been there since like 86 or something like that. They've been there forever. But that shell of that building is serving that community some great chicken,
better than Hardee's could ever do. Yeah. So that's the most encouraging is when I like when the economy purges out the bigger systems, because a lot of times, these restaurants like, Applebee's. And when I worked for their corporate, this is how we did it. We would go into a community that we thought was underserved and open up knowing couldn't even grab any market share, but we would just take a gamble because of, some type of focus group or study. And most of the time it panned out. A lot of times it didn't, but they don't use that same market study to find out how the area is trending. They don't change to that. They try to maintain to this daggum outdated system. Yeah. So, but like none of these are a surprise. Now, if you told me they were closing, 1,000 Popeyes tomorrow, I'll be like, well, man, that's gotta be a stupid
something's wrong
decision, because every time I drive through now, granted, it takes 45 minutes to get a sandwich, but there's always cars there.
I keep driving by going, maybe it won't be long this time.
Yeah. I drove by there Sunday at 2:00 thinking, surely.
Yeah.
No.
Well, 3:30, like when we got done in downtown Concord on Saturday.
Yep.
I drove that way. I went, I'm hungry. Let me get something. And there was a long line of Popeyes, and then there was a long line of Chick-fil-A. And I went to Chick-fil-A because I knew it was going to be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The other thing that I just realized, there's 73 restaurants on this list. Guys, we've got way too many fast food restaurants.
Right?
Everywhere you go, it's a place to eat.
Unless it's 1 in the morning or like I said, 1 a.m. on a Tuesday technically, and you just left someone's house and you're starving and there's literally nothing open.
I don't know.
Waffle House.
Yeah.
Who you talking about?
Well, like you want to get the drive-through.
Yeah.
And
there's a Jack in the Box there with one employee.
Or you go, you drive to the interstate, you get the blue signs, and it says McDonald's, 24-hour drive-through. Lies. 2 of them closed.
Well, and also during that 24 hours, you have a hankering for a caramel sundae. Ice cream machine.
Oh yeah,
broken.
It's broken. Yeah. Oh man.
I'm surprised more McDonald's haven't shut down. They've lost so much market share to other restaurants. I mean,
they weren't on the list. Didn't even see it.
And I just don't understand it.
They're horrible. Yep.
Yeah.
Free market, baby. That Ronald McDonald's doing something right. All right, so we're going to take a break. We come back, we'll have some hot topics. We're going to talk to our friend Sketch from Houston and learn about his experience at the Conway West concert at Lakewood Church.
Kanye, not Conway.
Conway, yes.
Conway, yes.
Hello, darling.
All right, we'll be back. You're listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. If you're in the market for a high-quality cigar for a very reasonable price, you must check out our friends at Watchman Cigars. Watchman Cigars is a family-owned business that puts the customer first with the best customer service in the business. Watchman Cigars offers the Habano for a full, spicy flavor, the Connecticut for a mild, easy-to-smoke option, and the Maduro for a strong, powerful experience. They even do specialty blends and partner with you to provide a custom, exclusive line just for you. Watchman Cigars has all your cigar needs. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Watchman Cigars 1991, or check out his new website at watchmancigars.com or the sponsor section of our website.
Hot topics.
All right, we're back. You're listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, and on the phone line, we have got our former producer Sketch from the old Dr. Dave and Biggins show. Sketch lives in Houston. And also is really involved in the hip-hop community, the Christian hip-hop community. And he went to go see #Kanye at Lakewood Church this past Sunday. We know that's kind of been a hot topic. People have been talking about that on TV. So, Sketch, you were there. We want to get the live play-by-play. How was and what are your thoughts of the concert / worship service / whatever it was?
Yeah. And thanks for having me on. I know we've talked about this. And like you said, I've covered Christian hip hop for about 2 decades now and have been a Kanye fan since he first came out with Jesus Walks. So to see where he's at now has been super fascinating. I've always just really enjoyed all the ebbs and flows of his career. So now to see him with this Jesus is King album, so very sold out. I've been excited about it. I've been watching these Sunday services since they started, probably in January. I had heard buzzes and clips about him doing these at his own property, And then on Easter, he did a big one at Coachella, which was the first time people really got to see what it was. And then they popped up in like Atlanta and LA and that sort of thing. So when I heard that it was coming to Lakewood, which was just last Tuesday was when it was announced, I was super excited and wanted to see. We had heard some discussion online that he was, I guess, talking to Joel Osteen. And so it wasn't a surprise that he landed there. And it's, if you guys don't know, or the listeners, Lakewood is their church is in the arena that used to be the Houston Rockets, where our NBA basketball team won 2 championships. So it's a super huge venue,
big,
which is really good.
right?
Yeah. So that was a good, for just the simple logistics of it, that was a good place to have it. And so basically he was there to speak at this service, at the 11 o'clock service, and did like a Q&A with Joel Osteen for about 20 minutes. And then he did this Sunday service performance at 7 o'clock. And they announced that you had to have tickets to go to that. It was free, so you didn't have to buy them, but you did have to go through Ticketmaster to get a ticket, which is really just crowd control.
Sure.
So they announced that, and they released a certain block of them to Lakewood members on Friday. I tried to sneak in and get tickets that way, and I searched online for the code, and I got tickets, and I was really happy. And then 2 hours later, I got an email from Ticketmaster that said, "We're voiding your tickets because it was used by a leaked online code." So I got denied. And you can only get 2 tickets at a time. So I did that on Saturday, jumped online right at 10 o'clock through Ticketmaster, went through the whole process, and in 15 minutes, they were all completely gone. I was logged in on 2 different devices and 2 different accounts. I had somebody else on a third device and third account. So that person was able to get 2 tickets. So I finally secured those. But there were all kinds of reports of people just from the Lakewood tickets, like reselling them for up to $500 or trying to, at least. Good online. Gracious. Yeah. So if you could see on Twitter and on eBay and stuff, people were trying to sell them. I don't know how much they did, if anybody really bought these tickets. And in one way, I can't blame the people. Like, they had no, if you can log online from North Carolina or New York and get this ticket and sell it to somebody in Houston for $200, you put no money out and you got that as full profit. So I totally understand their angle. And Kanye was kind of damned if he did do tickets and damned if he didn't. If he didn't, and it was just a free for all, it was going to be chaos and stuff. And then if he charged for them to try to limit some of that, he would be criticized for selling tickets to a religious service. So, so that was it, I guess. And then so we got the tickets. They said the doors were going to open at 5:30. We got there at 5:30. And it took us 2 hours to get into the building.
2 hours?
We were stationed in a line in the parking garage, and then they started moving it. And basically, they marched us completely around this parking garage and then back up through the front, because I guess I was towards the tail end of the line.
Now, that was for Kanye, not the Popeye's chicken sandwich, correct?
Right. Although I was curious if they were, which one was bigger. And this one was probably more well-behaved than the Popeye's chicken sandwich lines that I've heard about. Yeah. But everybody was chill. There was an interesting mix of people, some older folks, some younger kids that were obviously just Kanye fans. And it was interesting because there was this whole thing of when Kanye started like associating himself with Trump, a lot of people kind of wrote him off and said, "Oh, he's canceled." But he does something like this, and the whole city of Houston, it seemed, was trying to get there and pack it out. And a couple of days before, like he had unannounced done a show at the Houston jail for like 200 inmates and just randomly popped up and performed for them. And Kim was in town, Kim Kardashian, and I think had met with Rodney Reed, who was a death row inmate who was petitioning because he'd always proclaimed innocence. And so anyway, they did like some church related things. But I knew kind of what I was getting when I went to this performance. I'd followed these Sunday services before and knew that it was largely choir driven. So he's got 100-person choir that performs, and out of like an hour and a half or 2 hour performance set, Kanye really is only on stage or on microphone or instruments like 10 or 15 minutes. The rest of the time is the choir like leading these worship songs. Some of them are ones from his album. Some of them are classic gospel songs. Some of them are pop songs that they've Christianized. And he's at these other events too. He's also seated 15, 20 minutes to a pastor to come in the middle and talk. So he's done that at the LA one, the Atlanta one. So it wasn't a surprise to me that he had Joel Osteen, obviously, to get up and talk. I wish it had been his other pastor. I'm just not a fan of what Joel talks about that much, but musically it was fantastic. So it's all general admission. The tickets were, so there was no assigned seating. So that was another reason I think everybody got there early. So there was kind of a rush when you got in, but we just kind of got herded to the seats that we were at, which was kind of back towards the stadium, and they'd already started. But it was a fantastic night. It was, like I said, I don't know if the gospel was preached, but Jesus was worshipped in that music and what Kanye did. And to me, it's really just a remarkable testament to this life change that he's had. So the guy who everybody joked about, Kanye loves Kanye, as much as Kanye loves Kanye, and Mr. Ego has a free show that he gives, a portion of the event to a pastor to speak, and the majority of it is a choir doing worship songs to Jesus. I think just speaks to kind of where he's at now. The choir did a couple of local things to ingratiate themselves to the Houston crowd. So they took a Destiny's Child song called "Say My Name" and made it into "Praise His Name." And Kanye has done this, like I said, at these other Sunday services, and Christian hip hop has done this for many years, taking secular songs and flipped them like a bad youth pastor. And I've always kind of thought they were.
There's a whole movie about this called Sister Act.
Yeah. So it's always come off a little cheesy, but when you hear it with a choir, it kind of raises the level. So I'm a little more accepting of that. But yeah, they did. So they did "Say My Name." They were doing the South Side dance that Little Kiki made popular. But it was fantastic. Like I said, my only negatives were I didn't care for Joel speaking. I wish his other pastor had spoken. And they did actually pass an offering plate, which I had not heard of at any of these other Sunday services. Everything's been free, but I think this was maybe a Lakewood thing. And on its face, I actually don't even have a problem with that. It was a free show. If they want to pass the offering to help cover some of their costs, cool. But I just know it gives more ammunition to the critics to say, "Oh, that's just Joel and Kanye out for money." But there was the tickets didn't cost me anything. He wasn't selling any merchandise, which is ridiculously overpriced and ugly. But he didn't have a merch stand out there. I don't know if you guys have seen that merchandise, but it's terrible.
Yeah,
people
it's pretty bad.
People are designing it with Microsoft Paint, I think. But it's bad. But like I said, my takeaway was Jesus was worshipped and Kanye's a changed man. So I've talked a lot here, so I'm sorry to dominate it, but
and that was kind of the thing, the fruit. Jesus said, "You'll know that you're my follower by my fruit." What you're seeing that in the services, like it's pointing to him, not to Kanye. It sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. It's about Jesus, and like I said, even when he is on stage, like he was wearing a hat, he wasn't in a spotlight. He had his kids on stage, like running around, his daughter North, like next to him while he was doing some other stuff on the keyboard and doing some sampling. A lot of people, I think, went there hoping for a Kanye show, and they got a Kanye praise and worship show, which I think is another interesting aspect to me. He could have gone the route of just doing clean rap like Mace a couple years ago, the dude from that was P. Diddy's right-hand man, got saved, and he actually took time out from rap, but when he came back, he just did clean rap. Yeah. Or he could have done very Christian heavy, rap music, but really, if you listen to the Jesus is King, it's praise and worship music, and that's what this concert was. Like people thought they were getting a Kanye rap show, and they got they were lined up for a praise and worship concert, like Hillsong or something, which is just crazy.
I did watch the clip of Kanye talking for just a few minutes. Yeah, I've never seen Joel look more scared in my entire life. He had no idea what was coming out of his mouth. It looked like. I know.
I talked about that with some other friends too. I haven't watched the full thing, but I have seen clips of that interview, and I really like to hear Kanye perform right now. I'm still a little nervous about giving him that live mic. So, and you heard a little bit that on stage, and you heard actually the ego come back a little bit. He talked about God's greatest artist is now working for him, which is still kind of him feeding his ego a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
And he told somebody else that was giving him amens, like, "Hey, brother, can you please be quiet? You're ruining my stream of consciousness." So
there's a little bit still left in him, huh?
Yeah. So, but part of that is what I love about him. He's just sometimes just can't help himself, and so that was very interesting. But so I think it attracted an interesting crowd to church that maybe never have gone there before, and you can argue, whether Lakewood's a good church or not. But like I said, even from a pure logistical standpoint, it made total sense to have it there. And in some of these other Sunday service events he's done in Atlanta and stuff, he's done them outside actually, so people could just crowd up however they wanted. And usually he forms a circle. That's a big theme in this record and this movement, and the IMAX movie that I actually went to go see. There's a lot of circles in it, and like in LA, he was in the center of the auditorium. Lakewood had fixed seating, so he was more on the stage. But I think if he had preferred it, he would have been in the center, and it would have been kind of this family thing, I guess, that would be a part of it, which was kind of cool.
So we have Pastor Justin Padre here in studio with us as well. He wanted to kind of throw out your 2 cents as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, I naturally have a critical spirit, I think. So
you?
What?
No.
So I just don't buy it, if I'm honest.
Really?
Just man, Kanye is he's a marketing genius. I mean, and you look through his career, that's obviously he's a phenomenal writer. He's been a great musician, artist, but he's also a marketing genius. And what stops me from thinking that it's working, that this is just another huge marketing ploy, that it's an aim, another part of his career, really a career that just a few months ago was in the pooper, and now has resurrected because evangelical Christians always need a demigod to worship and to post up as to really decide to justify their faith. Like, look at this great influencer, this person of power. I mean, if we look through just the last few years, we see we fell in love with Tebow.
Yeah.
80% of evangelicals fell in love with Trump. That he was saved. There was
Justin Bieber's on that list.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to argue with you just a bit on that. Sorry, Kirk Cameron is calling me, so I'll.
There you go. There you go. And now Kanye, you add it to the list. And so it's really difficult for me to I hear things thrown around like there's been a great transformation, as if we're like years into this experience, we're days and he wrote an album, and it's just really it's kind of tough. And I think the other thing for me is before Kanye writes this album, the same evangelicals that are like applauding him on Facebook, if you ask them their opinion on Joel Osteen or any of these multi-million-dollar pastors, health and wealth, which is what Kanye is, he said it himself that God gave him a $65 million tax return.
That was lame.
So like if you ask any of these people, which most of them are, I have a lot of them that are Facebook friends. If you ask any of them about that theology, they would say this is ridiculous. This is false gospel. This is terrible theology. But because Kanye becomes a Christian, writes an album, and puts Jesus as King on the front with a terrible song called "Closed on Sunday," like
that's not my favorite one either.
It's an ode to Chick-fil-A.
Yes, that's a Chick-fil-A song.
And so, like, these same Christians just moments before would have said this is a false gospel, but now because this person of influence all of a sudden is like, yeah, I'm a Christian. They're like, oh, absolutely. There's a transformation here. But I mean, this isn't our first rodeo that we've ever done this. We do it every year when a person of influence and power comes out and says they're a Christian. I would love for you to convince me.
I think this is probably the biggest time the last probably decade or 2 decades it's happened, though, because this also happened in the late 60s, early 70s, because you had that big Bob Dylan comes out with a Christian album, Johnny Cash. I mean, so you had a lot of this happen. I think this is probably the biggest that's happened in probably the last little while, at least in my lifetime, recent lifetime, I guess.
I mean, in 2016, I mean, when James Dobson says that,
but who follows James Dobson?
Dude, he's a massive voice.
I'm talking about people that are outside of the inner sanctum of the
okay.
Christianese.
I'll give you that. Yeah. I mean, from the outside, yes, but from the inside, it's the same kind of like rally cry of this person has had this Saul to Paul moment.
Yeah,
and
my only skeptic is that a lot of times God's messengers are imperfect people, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I think Kanye would probably raise his hand to that. In fact, I read an article that I guess they interviewed his wife, Kim Kardashian. I'm saying first name like I know her, but spoke to her, and she says the changes have been tough. So, because
he's asking her to wear different clothes and to not put makeup on their kids and take the TVs out of their rooms.
So so she's noticed a big change. But my only problem, I guess my biggest problem is that how many people are coming to this movement that are kind of idolizing Kanye, and if he does have a fall, how much of their faith is bent into that? Because we do that with pastors already. I mean, mega pastors. I mean, I come from my hometown of Anderson, South Carolina. We had a mega pastor there, Perry something, I can't remember now. And he had a church of several thousand. All of a sudden now he had an alcohol problem, and so many people left the church with that. I mean, so that's my biggest fear.
Well, until he started a church on the other side of town.
And then he started a second church, and it's called Second Chance.
Second Chance.
Or Third Chance. But
I'd like to jump in and rebut a couple of things, or not rebut, but just add more to the conversation whenever we're ready.
Go.
But so I would say too, like, this whole thing is not Joel. Joel is the latest stop, but the first pastor that I heard speak at one of these Sunday services is a guy named Adam Tyson, who teaches at a small Bible church in Wyoming. I think it's a very conservative, very anti-Joel Osteen, I think, type of church. And what I understand is that when Kanye's got this big ranch in Wyoming, that's where he recorded this album and stuff. But one of his employees had gone to this church and invited him, and there's 40 people. So he's getting. I think Kanye's still trying to figure out who's. I don't expect him to know good teachers from bad teachers at this point. He's probably just going in to where people accept him. So I think that's one reason he gets drawn to Joel, and he probably does from the health and wealth stuff. But he does have other influences there. So that I would say, and in the album you might still get a little bit of that prosperity kind of stuff. God has blessed me because I'm successful, but I think if you really dig into it, and I heard it at the show, he's also talking about repentance and addiction, and he saved a wretch like me. There's even the Chick-fil-A song, take out the chorus, there's some solid stuff in the rest of that part of that song. So I would say definitely listen to more than just it once or twice, and see kind of where he's coming from. I sense a little more depth than just what maybe was perceived in this past weekend.
Yeah, and I think even with somebody like Joel Osteen, and we're here in Charlotte, we've got a big mega church guy who everybody knows, and anytime I'm anywhere, they say, "You're from Charlotte." Oh, Stephen Furtick. So we have that everywhere, and even if you listen to Joel preach, he will preach that Jesus is King. He will preach that we are saved from sin. He will preach that we're saved by a crucified Jesus. But there's this undercurrent that flows under all of that, and I think that's my what's a little bit confusing for me of the celebration of Kanye is that his theology is the same as all of these people that evangelicals would say that's a false gospel. Do you see where, like, and that's my tension. I don't understand why evangelicals so quickly jump in bed with these like massive, powerful people. They link themselves to them, even when their theology, even when what they're preaching is the same of the people that they would rebuke and the people that they would say this is false. Does that make sense? Like, why do we do that so quickly?
Yeah, I totally get and agree that. Like I said, my thing would be, I don't know that Kanye's solidified what he believes necessarily. I think, like I said, he's still kind of searching and learning and that sort of thing. So I wouldn't say just because this week he was with Joel, that's 100% what he believes, because he's been in these other things.
Yeah.
If he continues down that path, definitely, some caution flags.
Yeah.
For me, but I think he's still a new believer, and he's kind of working that out in a very public platform, which I wouldn't want for my faith when I was becoming a new Christian to have that many eyes on me the way that he is, and I think obviously that some people can be using him. Joel could have been using him, and conversely, Kanye could be using these churches and that sort of thing. So we don't know. But at this point, I want to be open and gracious as much as possible and cheer him on where I see him doing good things.
Yeah, I'll take my critic hat off just for a second. I want to learn from you. What does this mean for the hip hop world? I'm a white dude from Nowhereville, Indiana. Like it's hard for me to wrap my mind around what this means for the hip hop world, for the black community, for like what can you speak into that? What have you heard? What have you experienced? What is this?
Yeah,
what does this
as
mean?
much as I can. And full disclosure, I'm a white guy, 43 years old from Texas too. So I don't have the full urban experience, but I've followed the music.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely resonated. People are scratching their heads, trying to figure it out too. Like, I think I've seen some critics say, no, this dude was wearing a MAGA hat last, 6 months ago, and he doesn't really believe in black empowerment and our causes and that sort of thing. And some people see it as a money grab, particularly when you're associating yourselves with people like Joel. But, we've had a couple of people make these kind of conversions in the past. I mentioned like Mace, Malice from the Clips, who's actually on this album, has seemed to be very sold out. So there's been secular guys that have gone Christian and made Christian albums, probably not with a whole lot of staying power. And sometimes it seems like they're not as aggressive on the mic, and their talent level, I guess, goes down a little bit. When I first heard Jesus is King, the album, I didn't really care for it from a music perspective. I thought it's not his best work. It's very simple, but it's grown on me, and it's stuck with me that a lot of it, the choruses and stuff that I want to stick with. I think there's still some cheesiness on there, and he's going to kind of work that out. So people are maybe cautiously optimistic. It feels like most of the Christian hip hop community at first was a little bit like, man, we've been doing this for a while, and all of a sudden he's got a bigger name. I've been doing prison ministry for 10 years, and all of a sudden Kanye does one show in Houston, he gets all the cameras. But there's also a good portion that are really cheering him on and like, dude, we really want you to be solid in your faith and not just I think some people are a little worried anytime they give them a live mic, like maybe you're not ready to be up there preaching and that sort of thing. But if you're just holding concerts and drawing people to Jesus and praising him with your music and letting other people who are more educated speak to them, like this other pastor from Wyoming that I talked about, I don't know. It's fascinating. So I think a lot of eyes are on him, and that can be tough.
Yeah.
I think, but I think maybe we should chalk this up to, you remember the first time you got saved in, church camp, and you were so excited to share it with everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone would ask you the basic gospel, and you're like, hey, some guy on a tree that has, a nice 6-pack of abs died for me. I mean, you weren't you weren't solid in your faith yet, had really no clue what your beliefs were, but you were excited that you made that choice. Maybe this is Kanye playing that out. Also, something that I can't name one white guy in musical any genre of musical music that could have the same influence as Kanye's having right now. I mean, I don't think there's one white guy in country or rock or anything like that that could bring so many different communities together.
He's just so polarizing. He's just like this figure. He's this big personality that everyone just kind of gravitates to his successes and his failures.
Yeah.
You want to watch him do whatever he's going to do, whatever it is about him, you want to watch him do it.
No, but what I'm saying is name one white guy that would have that kind of influence. I don't think there's one out there.
I mean, I think Justin Timberlake would be the top towards the top of that list. And I don't know if you've seen his.
You mean Bieber or Timberlake?
No, Timberlake.
Yeah, he's in his fan club. So.
If you've seen his most recent live album, or his live concert, which I think is on Netflix, beforehand, man, this is where I get really, really confused because beforehand, the whole team's together, they're praying, they're like full blown worship, a worship service behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Then they go out and we all have heard JT's music, and it's not exactly like it's not Jesus is King, it's not.
Yeah.
And so there's this weird thing of like, oh yeah, I have my faith, but my life or my music doesn't match up. So there's this, I guess for Kanye, there's this interesting thing to me of his music is matching this idea of him being converted and following Jesus. But the question is, can the fruit of his life?
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
I can only maybe College Dropout was probably the only album I've ever listened to by Kanye. So I haven't followed this guy for many years. So on my radar, he's been off of it. Now my wife works for a company that produces his shoes. So I got to hear about those every once in a while. And I'm like, why does this guy actually have a shoe line? I mean, I thought he was a nobody. I thought he dropped off the radar. And then, all of a sudden, in the last 4 years, this guy has popped back onto the stage. Love him or hate him. I mean, he's caused a big rift in the political movement in the African-American black community with, hashtag Blexit. He's promoted people that were basically no names, subgenre media stars. They're now household names. I mean, the guy's caused a huge rift in several different communities, and I just don't think there's a person, a Caucasian white person that could have the same power. I don't think there is.
Yeah, and I would say just because he fell off your radar, I don't think in the hip hop community he did. The Taylor Swift thing definitely brought him back into forefront. The first 3 albums people loved and were classics. Yeezus got some attention because that was, again, him kind of going back into faith stuff, and he had a song called I Am a God, and then Life of Pablo was the one before Ye, so like 2 albums back. That was the first one where he called a gospel album with a lot of cursing, and he had Kirk Franklin on it, and there was a lot, if you can get past the cursing and some of the content, there was a lot of gospel sound and somebody definitely like searching and kind of being frustrated with their life and some of the choices that they've made and kind of contemplating God. So for me, he's always been on the radar. And then in the last couple of years, we've had people like Kendrick Lamar and Chance the Rapper who have been professing Christians, even though they are not necessarily making Christian music, although Chance had a lot more gospel influence on his last project. So you've seen this kind of continue to bubble up, and people still talk about God, even though it may be in very crude and crass and vulgar terms at times. But this now change of no profanity, very vertically focused music, and these events where he's got a whole 100-person choir singing some traditional black gospel songs,
and his choir is incredible.
Oh yeah,
holy
I would
smokies.
go just to see them.
I know, for real.
It's better than Kirk Franklin's.
Oh my gosh, it's incredible.
They're very strong.
They are incredible.
And this service that I went to, you can look up on YouTube. They've got the whole thing streaming and the interview segment on Lakewood stuff. So if you're interested, check it out. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm cheering him on. Justin, I'm curious too. Like, okay, so say Kanye comes to your church next week. What kind of conversation do you have with him, or what if he wants to speak or perform? Since you're a little skeptical of him right now.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of questions in there.
Yeah.
would I give him the platform? No, not on his own.
Yeah.
You know, I would have a lot of questions. And it would start with the $65 million tax return, and I would, you know, I have a lot of questions about, does the gospel actually take full effect into your everyday life? And if not, then we're just believing in an escape plan. And so, you know, I think I would love to hear his thoughts on that, you know, and I would love to push in and challenge, just to see you know, and there's different stages of the gospel. There's, to use a Christianese, there's different stages of our sanctification. There's different stages of our maturity and transformation. I get all of that. But I mean, he does have a platform, and he is speaking on that platform, which is shaping millions of people's thoughts on what it means to be Christian. And even Christians who have been Christians a really long time are mesmerized and hanging on his every word. And so that, to me, like, even I saw somebody compare it to Saul to Paul, if we're going to compare it to that type of thing, that Saul, when he became Paul, went away for years to study under the apostles. And I think for me, like, if Kanye would have had a conversion experience and said that, and even like made this album, and then said, I'm going to go away for 2 years, and I'm going to do some studying under, you know, like under some really solid teachers, and that it would have come across to me not as a marketing genius. When I saw him on that the late night show with James
Corden, where they did
oh man, I love that
airplane
show.
karaoke. Yeah,
and it was like, musically it was incredible until Kanye opened his mouth. Like, and when he started talking, you could see old Kanye starting to shine through. The ego was there, and of course it was like it was also had the layer of Jesus on top of it. And so, yeah, those would be the conversations I would want to have with him. And I would love to, man, I love that you keep saying, I want to cheer him on.
Yeah.
And man, I really do. I hope that this is legit. You know, I hope this is genuine, and I hope that Kanye can make a riff. I hope a revival comes. We need a revival, but I do have my questions, and I do think that there's probably a presidential run coming in like 4 years.
I know. I'm not necessarily looking forward to that.
Like I would not doubt whatsoever if
Kanye?
that's yes.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
he's talked about it like somewhat seriously.
And I mean, there's no better base to have than the evangelicals. Like,
yeah,
they literally won somebody an election 3 years ago, you know, and
and time in history. I mean, if you're coming off the heels of a reality TV star that's now president, why not Kanye West?
Exactly. So I would not doubt that's coming in 5 years. I think I would love to hear if you know anything about this. I've heard
you guys are pointing out two people that the conservatives have gotten around, but we don't look at it as a whole state of California full of entertainers that vote blue every election.
100%. I'm not talking about that, but
they're the 1%, literally.
Yeah, I've heard that Kanye has some Christian background, and you've kind of referred to that because in his other albums there's that undertone. Is that true? Like, does he have that in his upbringing and his family? What did that look like?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about his church experience growing up. It sounds like he did have some influence. One of the songs on this album, or the video he did about his dad taking him to church, but the very first album, that College Dropout, it was the third single. So the first one was Through the Wire, which was about his car accident and getting his his jaw literally wired shut. So he raps about that. The next one was It All Falls Down, which talked about the shallowness of consumerism. And the third one was Jesus Walks, which he talks about on there. Like, they say I can rap about anything except for Jesus. So he felt kind of shut down by that. And then, like I said, later on, and he was sampling a lot of like gospel music in some of his stuff. He did the album Yeezus, and there's the song I Am a God on there. The name was obviously a play on the Jesus. The next to most recent album was The Life of Pablo, which he called a gospel album. And there were all those kind of influences. And I know he's got believers around him. So one guy is Farnsworth Bentley, who I've had a chance to interview before. And most people know him as the guy that held the umbrella for Diddy, but he's a performer himself. He's a believer. So he's been in his circle, like helping him write and trying to nudge him towards the faith. And then, like I said, the guy Malice from the Clips, who they're one of the best known Coke rappers, two brothers. One of them is signed to Kanye's label, and then this Malice guy, he kind of rededicated his life to Christ and pulled away from the music industry. He still recorded some Christian stuff, but he got more involved in this album. I think wrote 3 songs. So there are believers like in his camp, I think, that are influencing him. And I'm praying for those people just as much too, that they're able to speak truth to him and guide him and even correct him when with somebody of that celebrity and that stature and that ego, it probably is hard to say no and try to direct them in the proper path of this kind of stuff. So,
yeah, man, I appreciate your belief and like you just the way that you look at this and see it as a positive influence on the pop culture, the positive influence it can have on certain communities. Like I really am inspired by that positivity. And, and I think for me, like I want to go back and listen to some of those songs that you've referred to throughout his albums, just to hear kind of the journey that he's been on. It's, and just keep watching and see what comes next. So,
yeah. And like I said, one last challenge. You talked a lot about money, and I said kind of at the beginning too. I'm still super impressed that he, at least here in Houston, he showed up and did that jail show. Like he didn't have to do that.
Yeah,
he could have charged for tickets. He could have sold merch at this event. If he's a master marketer and this is a money ploy, he's leaving some money on the table.
Yeah,
it may be a lost leader because he's playing into this image. But I also try to look at that as very positive things that. He could have, like I said, sold Yeezys outside and sold tickets, and he didn't have to go do the jail show and that sort of stuff. Those people didn't give him any money.
No, I thought so. I saw an article on that and pictures from that. That was really incredible. And those are the things that blow me away, and I hope there's more of that because obviously he can have a lot of influence in that world as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's good.
Well, Sketch, we appreciate you coming on once again, and we just want to kind of hear it from more of our ground on our feet on the ground. I'm about to say it backwards.
Hip-hop correspondent, maybe?
Yeah.
Official.
I'll take that title.
Official, unofficial. But yeah, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for letting us talk to you tonight.
Absolutely. I love the show and love you guys and appreciate you letting me share my perspective on it.
Yeah, man.
Good discussion here tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and thanks, Justin, for chiming in there, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Hook, Line, and Heroes is a 501c3 nonprofit based in Charlotte, North Carolina, founded in 2017 to show God's love and appreciation for our disabled and PTS military veterans. They provide professionally guided fishing trips to nominated veterans at no cost to the veteran. Hook, Line, and Heroes has provided over 30-plus trips around the Carolinas since their founding, from red fishing down in Charleston to striper fishing on Lake Norman, and even offshore fishing down in Florida. Each trip is a one-on-one experience with a member of the organization, aiming to provide a day of fun and relaxation on the water and begin a lifelong relationship with them. Each veteran leaves the day with a fully stocked tackle box, rod and reel, apparel, a Bible, and a daily devotion to kickstart their new hobby and build their relationship with God. Please take the time to visit their website at hooklineandheroes.org to hear and learn more about them. You can help in many ways by nominating a veteran you know through their website, join their monthly giving program, Healing Heroes, or send a one-time personal or corporate donation. You'll also be happy to hear that they are completely volunteer-run, and nearly 100% of your donations goes directly towards providing trips for the veterans. Be sure to follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to see their veteran stories and to show your support. All right, we're back. You are listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, and in studio, we are graced by Armored Cow Brewery. We have Andrew. Andrew, what do you do at Armored Cow Brewery?
I wear many hats.
And I see you've got a Armored Cow hat, which actually is really cool looking, by the way.
Thank you.
Leather patch, camouflage hat.
Yeah.
You got it going on like you like it. I like it. So what all the hats are you wearing?
I do a little bit of sales. I do a lot of brewing.
Okay.
A lot of business.
Okay. What kind of background do you have? Or did you just kind of, I want to start a brewery, so here we go.
And I started home brewing in 2009.
Okay.
It wasn't long after that I decided to make a career change. I was in the printing industry, working in production. So I had to go to school. I had to take some prerequisites to get into the American Brewers Guild.
Okay.
Did that. Part of the program was an internship. That landed me an intern at Sycamore Brewing.
Okay.
From there, I got a job and worked my way up to their head brewer, their South End location.
So that actually, I didn't know that there's a beverage. What was that again that you went through?
American Brewers Guild.
American Brewers
Brewing
Guild.
School. They're in Vermont.
It's like a secret organization, like the Masons or the Templars.
Nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
You have a secret handshake.
That school started actually at UC Davis Extension. And then Steve Parks, he's big in the brewing industry, he I guess was offered the school and moved it to Vermont.
Wow. And is that a normal thing? Because you're the first. We've had a lot of breweries on, but you're the first that have said that they went through this guild. Is that a normal process, or is that?
It is. There's a wait list for that school. I mean,
Wow.
there's several, and now universities are giving opportunities, programs that they offer.
Okay.
But so the reason I chose my internship at Sycamore is because the head brewer there, Andrew Villapiano, took the same course.
Okay. Oh wow.
And so I figured I might have an in.
Sure. So where did the name Armored Cow come from? How did you come up with
Well, I was in the military, and I'm proud to be a veteran.
that? Well, thank you for your service.
So we were just throwing around names, and my wife's cousin threw Armored Cow out there, and I was like, well, that sounds kind of cool. What is that? And he was on Google, I guess, and it was
The name's available, right?
Yeah. So that's what the soldiers in World War II called their canned milk.
Yeah, Armored Cow. That's right.
I did not know that.
I didn't either till about a year ago.
So canned milk is really kind of where the
Yeah.
origin came from.
Because I remember driving by the location when you were still building. Because I live in North Charlotte.
Okay.
Like I go to, it's right by Sam's Club.
You
Like,
guys
right
are
there.
off of Harris, aren't you?
We are, Harris,
Yeah.
in between Harris and 29 on J.W. Clay Boulevard.
Okay.
They're right by like the Hilton there on 85.
Yeah,
Harris.
when I first moved to Charlotte, when I was 19, before I had to leave the city, I worked off of Harris. So, yes, it's a pretty busy area too. So,
Yeah, it's getting busier. So it's kind of
It went down for a while, and
Yeah.
now it's coming back up.
right. There's a lot
so
of
you guys are did you renovate an older building or
It was
did
an
you guys-
existing building.
Okay,
yeah.
what was it previously?
So we took 3 suites out of 5.
Okay,
One was a suit store.
okay.
Oh
I think
yeah,
it-
It was
one-
there was like a men's warehouse or something very similar to that there.
Yeah, it was
And,
called
Lifeway. There was a Christian bookstore at the end.
There was before it was the Christian bookstore. It was a mattress firm,
Okay.
and then there was a Radio Shack. So we
Radio Shack.
Oh, man.
Pour one out. For Radio Shack.
Three businesses with 3 poor business plans in 2019. So,
Sure.
So we did all the demolition,
Mm-hmm.
and it was funny because when we were taking down the ceiling in the Radio Shack, you go to the bathroom and the drop ceiling. We found a bunch of empty
Oh no. Oh no. Empty.
packages of whatever,
Okay.
Somebody shoplifting.
SIM cards.
Yeah.
Got it. I was
so there's-
going in a completely different direction. I was thinking there's going to be cameras or something else in there.
That'd be horrible.
Right at a Radio Shack.
There was a lot of cameras, but
Oh, Lord.
none in the bathroom.
Well, and clearly they didn't do a whole lot of good because people were taking stuff in the bathroom.
Yeah.
It was an
So
employee.
okay, I get it.
Bathroom.
Yeah, so they're going in there to the bathroom and then taking stuff apart and putting the trash up.
Yeah.
And then
Someone had a bunch of
scanner out.
laser disc
Wow.
envelopes in there and floppy disk.
Yeah.
Any fun things that you found in the Lifeway? Because I'm sure that's got some stories.
No. When we the Lifeway had became a
Jessica Hahn Playboy.
it was a truck driving school.
Huh.
Oh,
Well, how about it? Also, where the
it's a
Playboy
tiny
could come
building
from.
for to put a park a truck in. That's
Yeah. So going through your Facebook page, I noticed one of the things that I think distinguishes you from other breweries too that I've seen is you have gluten-free beer.
That's correct.
Why is that? I guess is there a big demand for gluten-free beer?
I wouldn't say big, but there is a demand for
Okay.
it. The reason I started doing it was because my mother-in-law has celiacs,
Oh wow.
and we were just having a conversation one day. I was still brewing at home. Biggest thing she missed the most is beer. She's tired of drinking cider, tired of drinking wine. So I decided to take a look and see what I could do as far as gluten-free, other than sorghum and enzymes that only reduce the gluten. And I found millet and
Okay.
buckwheat and malted rice that
So all those are all, I guess, gluten-free foods,
yeah.
and the process would be fairly much the same, right? You're just using different ingredients.
It's somewhat the same. It's a longer process, and those grains gelatinize at higher temperatures, so you're denaturing all the enzymes that exist in them. So I have to mash in high. I have to add enzymes,
Okay.
and then I have to lower the temperature and add more enzymes.
Oh wow. So it's a process.
It is.
so you get to charge more for that, then, right?
I do charge more. Yeah.
Sure.
Full disclosure,
Some-
my mother-in-law has problems too, and
Okay.
I usually have to drink my problems away.
You need any kind of alcohol to get
Yeah,
it. Got it.
as long as it's wet.
Sure, understand. So also going through, I noticed you've got a large amount of different types of beer. I think you were asking Chris if he had, what was that on the last show?
Double Bock.
Double Bock. Now you have a double Bock, right?
Yes.
Oh wow,
See there?
we might have to take an Uber ride down there tonight.
It's on my way home. So
Actually, give me a ride there, and I can get an Uber back.
there you
So-
go.
How about you?
I mean, you can pay to get on there too because I got my live sticker.
You can pay him to take you back. Oh,
I've already paid him once.
Oh yeah, yeah.
nice. Go through your beers if you can.
Off the top of my head, oh gosh, we have a Kolsch, we have American Light Lager, we have a Session IPA, we have an American IPA, we have a Hazy IPA, we have an Oatmeal Stout, we have the Doppelbock, which is 9%. I have some of that aging in Muddy River barrels.
Ooh, come on.
What else? We have a
Looks like you got a pumpkin latte.
yes, that's a gluten-free one. That one,
Why are you laughing?
That's the thing. Wow, is
Right.
it vegan too?
I'm trying to read. You said the brown ale, right?
we have a brown ale.
Berliner Weiss.
Yeah,
I'm just reading through your pictures here. It looks
Yeah.
good. I'm trying to map out my Uber ride right now. A spiced ale. That sounds good.
It's not really a pumpkin amber, but it's similar spices. There's no pumpkin in it, but it's got cinnamon and ginger, and
Okay.
What is a session IPA?
it's just low ABV. It's
Okay.
a pale ale, I guess. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. No, that's I've seen that now. I've noticed it before, but just didn't.
It's I think mine is 4.9 maybe.
Oh wow. Chris called that a crusher, right?
Yeah.
Like you could just drink those
Drink
all
it all
day.
Lawnmower beer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
With a
just
little more flavor.
a little more flavor. Yeah, the Dunkelbach looks really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that, and I know you said something about a Bach.
Yeah.
I always think of Kelly LeBrock. Totally different.
A little bit.
Yeah, but still dark and stormy. So anyway, so I saw that, and I was like, wait, I think you'd like that.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not one of the beers I drink when I'm dieting, but it's like this time of year though. It's great. I like a heavier beer.
You mean to tell me you're worried about diet? You crushed a number one with extra fries and half a cookie on the way.
Dude, if you put it, I'm telling you, if you put it in front of me, I will thrash it.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Just like I ordered pizza for the guys at the shop. They ate like a slice of pizza, and I ate the other pizza and a half. I mean, so it's just, I get it.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah, I can't control myself.
So what started your interest of beer, of moving from being in the printing world to be like, forget this. I'm going to do
I've always
mine.
liked beer. I've always enjoyed
Well, making beer, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So I spent some time in Germany, and the beers over there in the early 90s were much different than the beers that I'd had here.
Oh, yeah. Especially then.
So I've just always had an affection for a little bit more than Bud Light or Miller Lite. So I had a buddy that I grew up with, and he used to pick on me because he was a big Budweiser drinker, and I was always looking for something different. I was like, man, I'm telling you, there's better stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, he moved away, but there's a story in between. But anyways, he introduced me to homebrewing. He gave me a beer, and it's like, man, I made this on my stove, and it's a Avery Jubilation clone, and tasted it, and I was like, wow. Show me how you do this, And so he's actually my business partner.
Oh, wow. Times have changed.
Yeah.
So the Budweiser guy was homebrewing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I got that.
Talking to Germany, that's one thing I really admire about these, craft breweries that are opening up. I mean, they try to instill that kind of, like the beer garden.
The heritage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, they're trying to instill that type of community fare. It's not, for any listener out there that's not, never been to a craft beer spot or whatever, it is not the bar that you go to to get 6 sheets into the wind. That way, you're looking for that last lovely lady standing at the bar with the beer goggles look good. I mean, this is not that type of place. This is a place where people go to taste the craft of the brewer and also the community. And you can see each brewery. People will go to each brewery, but you have some people that are just loyal followers that will defend that brewery out there against a zombie apocalypse. So
Sure.
I admire that.
How's the draw in university? Because we know in Concord, because obviously that's where we're at, there's 6 different breweries. Now, I don't get much further than the 485 going south.
So close. It's just right there. One more exit.
Right. No, and I get that, but I don't go that far. Usually Concord Mills is like the drop dead is I'm not going any further than that. But how's the beer scene in North Charlotte?
We are like the only brewery
That's it, right?
in that area.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, there's
In the
sports
closest.
bars everywhere. You got like a Taco Mac, and there's a couple of sports
Taco-
bars and
Taco
restaurants.
Mac closed down.
Did it really?
Yeah.
What? That's because it's too
There's a-
expensive. I never get. They had lots of beer, but
Yeah.
Wow.
there's nothing. There's
I mean,
nothing
you have
like,
a pretty big college crowd there.
No. We kind of expected.
Not too.
No, we do get some in there, but
Right.
not many.
Yeah, I know that when I was in college for that one lonely year, I couldn't afford craft beer.
Yeah, and then most college kids are not technically old.
Allowed.
Yeah,
You
There's
probably
graduate students.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
there's some, but the bulk of them.
Yeah.
At
And-
UNCC.
From what I understand, most of them only go to where the specials are.
right.
Sure, they want
They want the cheap beer.
The 225 domestics.
shot in the-
Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't want that kind of
No, we
nonsense
don't,
anyway.
we
Because
don't.
those cheap prices come a lot of headaches.
Right.
So,
Right.
What would be a specialty? Like, what do you enjoy brewing? What would be your kind of go-to?
I love brewing light lagers.
Okay. Any one that you're certain proud of?
Right now, what I have on tap is an American light lager.
Okay.
I have a Kolsch coming out too. That's kind of a similar beer.
Do you do any like flavor infused Kolsch's or?
I have not. Now I did a collaboration with Middle James Brewing. So he's I worked with Andrew Villapiano at Sycamore, and he started his own brewery in Pineville. So we've done 2 collaborations. One of them was a light lager we called Maiden Shade, and the most recent one is a lime infused light lager.
So when you do these collaborations, I've not asked you about this before. I'm just assuming when you do a collaboration, I guess you guys come together, develop a recipe, I guess. Now, do you guys both take it back to your respective locations and brew it, and then just? No,
we brewed Maiden Shade, the first one at my facility.
Okay,
and then I essentially sold half of it to him, and then we brewed the other one at his facility, and then he essentially sold half of that.
Okay, I got you.
It's just kind of a.
I got you because there's a couple of things I've seen with like the philanthropy where, like a brewery was trying to raise money for their city that was devastated by some disaster, or I can't remember what it was now. So anyway, they then I guess part of the craft brewer associations in certain parts of that state and kind of that region decided to say, hey, you know what, we're going to do a collaboration with this place. They're going to give us the recipe. We're all going to brew the same recipe and donate the funds to this organization, whatever. So I was just kind of curious how that worked.
It's a pretty cool idea, though. I like it.
It is. It is. I mean, especially if you guys, the Craft Brewers Society and community is pretty damn tight, I would say. I mean, I keep going back to Wicked Weed, and we talked about that 2.5 years ago, whatever, when they bailed out on the craft brewers. I mean, a lot of the small guys just, they stood together and decided not to follow suit with it. Participate in their festivals. Yeah, exactly. And you keep seeing that. I've also heard about other brewers where someone has a loss of equipment where they can go over to their local buddy and brew beer to keep their operation going. So it's just, I don't know, it's just admirable. I mean,
there was recently. I don't know if y'all are aware of King Canary.
Yeah, in Mooresville.
Their owner brewer passed away.
Oh, I did not know that.
And there's a couple breweries that I think it was Wooden Robot and maybe High Branch that got together and brewed something. And they had a festival out there. And
wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty awesome. I don't think you'd see that happening with a Miller Coors and Anheuser-Busch. I just don't think you'd see that. So
I've seen that a lot with other like just craft communities that have come up in the last decade or so. And even quilters included, but just like these small businesses, they're all doing the same thing in their own way, but they're not like throat punching each other to get business. They're just like it just doesn't make, like, from a business standpoint, it makes no sense. But it's a cool thing to see from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Maybe the beer community learned something, in its DNA, I guess, with how they used to be like that. And then all of a sudden the big giants would come in and just swallow up whole conglomerates, and put it underneath their umbrella. So maybe they, together we hang, or, we all die or whatever. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of, I admire that because you don't see that in many industries.
Yeah.
You said one of your favorite ones is a light ale. Is that right?
Light lagers.
Lager.
Yeah.
What's the most difficult to brew besides sounds like the gluten-free is probably the toughest. Is there another one that's really difficult?
Well, the light lagers, you can't hide any mistakes in those.
Okay.
So that's why I enjoy them,
Is it the difficulty level of nailing that beer because it's hard to hide mistakes?
Yeah.
It kind of challenges you? Yeah.
Interesting. You think that's why a lot of
and you can pound them.
That's a good thing, right?
You think
there.
that's why a lot of craft brewers don't do that though? Is it because you can't? There's no room for error. We've had more recently. We've come across more, especially in Concord, that are doing those kind of as a gateway. As we talked about in the last.
They
episode,
are gateway. We have people that come in. Hey, what is the closest thing you have to Bud Light?
Yeah,
and I've got Auburn Cow Light.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I just wonder about that. If it's that hard.
We get a lot of people come in and, hey, what's the closest thing you have to Blue Moon? So my wife, who runs the front end of the house, we've got a Hefeweizen, and to me that's a summer beer, and I don't want to bring it back. But she's like, people are asking.
Yeah.
There's an Applebee's right down the road. That's the closest thing to Blue Moon.
Well, I want the
You want the business,
Yeah,
of course.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about your facility?
Shock top.
The brewery itself. Like, what's that like? What's that experience when you walk in the doors? What are we seeing?
So it's I don't know how to explain it. I had nothing to do with the design or the look and feel of it. So my wife dealt with the architects and all that, and so. But it's kind of a, I would say like just a Western maybe kind of feel. There's
Okay.
a lot of reclaimed wood and metal from my partner. He's got some property up in Virginia. We're old barns. We took the wood from that. And,
Oh, nice.
And some of the metal from the roofing, and that decorates our bar. Our bar top is concrete, and we built that ourselves.
Oh, wow.
It's just kind of clean, I guess you.
It's very modern and uncluttered. I'm looking at the picture right now.
Yeah, it looks really open.
Is I'm assuming pet and family friendly?
We're very both. Yeah.
What between you and me? It's just you and me talking. Nobody's listening. What's your thought of having pets in the brewery?
I don't have a problem with pets in the brewery. I love pets. I've got 2 dogs. The only thing I would ask is if your pet's not well behaved, please don't bring them.
Do you have issues where they just drop a deuce right in the middle of the floor and nobody cleans
I
that
haven't
up?
had that.
Lucky you.
If that's all it is, I'll clean it up.
Oh, Lord.
What I don't like is when dogs just can't socialize and they bark and bark and bark and
Oh,
bark
yeah.
and bark, and I'm just like, I love dogs, but nobody
Come
wants
on
to hear
now.
that.
Sure.
If it was my child and he wouldn't stop crying, I would be like, all right,
Right.
we got to go.
Yep.
You know.
People have just lost all common sense, I think, and then they just tune out like their pet or their dog or anything. But then they'll be the first to complain, like, "Shut your dog up."
Yeah.
Yep. No, I understand.
Can you bring emotional support peacocks?
Oh yeah. So again, I'm assuming the light lager, but if you had to go pick one out of your tap right now to drink, what would it be? Again, the light lager or something different?
Lately I've been drinking the Kolsch that I have on
Okay.
tap. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but what's your most popular beer?
IPA.
The IPA. Yeah. Okay.
Off the grid.
All right.
We have a blonde ale, cinnamon girl blonde is what we call it. But I let it sit on pineapple puree and cinnamon, Saigon cinnamon sticks.
Ooh.
And I think I did a really good job with the balance between the two.
Because those are can be too overwhelming.
Right.
Fragrances or bouquets in a flavor. I mean, especially cinnamon.
Yeah.
Cinnamon. That's all you taste if it's
Right.
too much.
This one is I wanted to call it crisscross applesauce or pineapple sauce. My wife was like, no,
Wow.
but because it's kind of like to me a pineapple sauce. You know how applesauce,
Yeah.
it's got cinnamon and.
But that's not when it comes out of the tap, right? It doesn't look like applesauce, then, right?
No, that would be awesome.
It's about the color of pineapple.
Okay. That sounds delicious, actually.
Yeah, it sounds really good. I want to try that.
I enjoy it.
Because I love the stouts. What all, you have an oatmeal stout?
Just an oatmeal stout right now.
Okay.
I have an imperial stout going right
Come
now,
on.
and the pastry stouts are real popular right now. I'm thinking about making it like a cherry cordial, cherry chocolate, and some vanilla.
That sounds. I can't stand the cherry cordials,
Yeah, the
but
cherry
the
cordial-
beer sounds
The
good.
beer sounds
though.
good, but that's one of those things you have like more than one of them, you're like done.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's like,
Well, it's going to be about almost 12%.
Okay, so you will be done after one. Okay,
a cherry coat, is that like the
That's the
chocolate
that's a
covered?
little chocolate thing.
chocolate, yeah.
Yeah, my
Cherry.
grandma
That's
used to eat
that's
the whole
what
box
you-
up at a time.
That's what you put in the mailbox every year for the postman for Christmas gift. That's what my grandma did.
Really?
Did the postman
every-
leave anything back?
There's debate in my family that the postman could actually have been our grandfather. So I don't know. I think he did more than one delivery.
Okay.
So if people want to go check you out at Armored Cow Brewery, where do they go?
Yeah, social media website.
That's all. We have a website, but social media for the most part.
Yeah, Instagram is that at Armored Cow, I guess.
I guess.
We'll figure it out and put it in the show notes.
There you go. We'll
Yeah.
have all the information on our show notes. Andrew, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Armored Cow Brewery, if you want to check it out, it sounds like we've got to go take a trip.
What time they
What
close?
time is it? What time do you guys
What time you guys close? On Wednesday?
9. It's a Wednesday on a 9, probably.
Okay.
All right, so here's the game.
We stay open later than most, and my wife is the one that runs the bar, so I'm like I'm trying to push her to. We need to start closing earlier because nothing good happens.
Oh yeah. All right, so here's the thing: we got to find us a designated driver.
Okay.
Because obviously we probably want to do a sampling of pretty much everything.
Everything,
Sure.
yeah.
So that's guys' night. We have to have a designated driver.
Yeah. Do you guys have any events that you guys do throughout the week? Any trivia or anything
Oh
like
yeah,
that?
yeah. Trivia's are Thursday nights, and it varies from time to time what it is.
Okay.
We do bingo. We do music bingo. We actually do regular bingo.
Okay. I like regular bingo.
It's easy. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, again, thanks for stopping by. We'll have all your information on our show notes, so you can check it out there if you are in the Charlotte area, Concord, wherever. Check them out. Armored Cow Brewery sounds delicious. We'll give them a try.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
Really appreciate it, Andrew, for coming in. Once again, I think just check out Armored Cow. There's no other Armored Cows breweries on Facebook that I
Not
saw.
that I know
So
of.
check
Yep.
them out there. They kind of keep their updated listings there. But yeah, we appreciate him coming in. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm just kind of looking forward to actually, hopefully this cherry cordial comes into fruition.
I was really hoping he had like a hand truck and a keg with him or something.
Yeah.
For a little
Yeah, no
sample
doubt.
or something.
He said he didn't know, so I'll give him some grace.
Okay.
Maybe next time.
Well, I'm gonna make this announcement now. Is if you have a restaurant or a brewery or a cigar company
Or a product.
a product,
that we can use.
yeah,
We can taste.
and you are about to come on our show to be interviewed. We're gonna go ahead and say it's an open invitation to bring us something.
You don't have to, but it'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice. No, absolutely. So anyway, we'll have to go down and check it out.
Yep.
So I don't know who's gonna be our designated driver.
You know
can
how
find
much I
somebody.
am with beer.
No, you got to have fun.
Okay.
You did that on the Bourbon Trail too, and it made us all mad. Please check us out on Facebook at Southern Fried Philosophy. Also, check out our website at southernfriedphilosophy.com. Don't forget you have the playable links there. You can also share that, links with your coworkers or whatever. Wherever you listen to your podcast at, Apple, iTunes, Google Play, Stitch, wherever you listen, just go there, subscribe, give us a like, give us a review. It just takes a few seconds. You can just leave a 2-word review, 3-word review, emojis, whatever you would like to do. Just give us
Me
a
like.
yeah, me likey. Yeah, just whatever you want to do there. We appreciate those reviews, appreciate those ratings. Also, check us out on patreon.com/SFP radio. Also, our YouTube at youtube.com/SFP radio. And don't forget, donate life. If you haven't registered, please go sign up, get that little heart patch on your ID or star or whatever it is in your state. Because you can save someone's life even though you're not here anymore.
There you go. And again, thanks again for tuning in. And as always, keep looking up. Also, happy Thanksgiving.
Gobble, gobble.
Doing it.
Checking to see if I'm a donor or not.
Oh, okay.
Get a little heart.
Have a star.
That's the real ID. It means you can fly on planes.
I do have a heart.
He does have a heart.
I'm like Tin Man.
Perfect. I got that.
Who's drinking?
I think that's the
was-
computer is drinking.
I just took a sip of Topo Chico, so that may have been me.
Topo
What?
Chico, yeah.
Kazoo time.
Yeah.
It's a lime
Y'all don't have that up there?
flavored Hispanic seltzer water
Not that I know of.
Yeah, it's
Lime
just mineral
flavor.
water.
It's like Sundrop. They were
Yeah.
telling me? Okay.
without the sugar.
Yeah, it's just carbonated water.
It's like LaCroix or something.
But it's in a glass bottle, and when you drink it cold, it's awesome.
Oh, sweet.
All right.
So